For all of you. And so, in attempting to do this, I talked to quite a few people. Probably none of you really remember this because I was very sneaky about it, and gathered some interesting stories and other things in which to put in my speech, which I shall now start. In order to accurately capture the spirit of school, I wrote this in a bit of a panic 3 days ago. In reflection of, doing all my other work. Just kidding. I wrote it yesterday. So here we are. Convocation. The big event. 12 long years of school finished. And we're about to enter the magical world of adulthood. Well, I guess we already did that when we left Centennial last year, then moved out of our parents' houses, went to college or university, started working, paying taxes, and struggling to support ourselves, but I digress. We're back here now. So what's the point of convocation anyway? Why am I standing here wearing a silly hat? I thought we would have mortarboards. I was not aware we would not when I came up here. Forgive me. Maybe I should have found a fact checker. And asking rhetorical questions. Is it so our parents can obsessively document this and then tell everybody we know that we've graduated? Everybody who can't escape? Somewhat. Is it so the school board can save money on postage by getting all of you to pick up your diplomas in person? The money adds up. But there's something else to this event. Something important. We're here tonight to acknowledge the fact that we are at the end of a long, turbulent road. A road called childhood. They were exciting times, full of wonder and excitement. Then we hit puberty and had to take a detour over an avenue full of angst and stupid hairstyles. And yes, I know that was an easy joke, but it is totally true, admitted. Then we got back on the first road, which is now fast approaching the highway of responsible adulthood, or the underpass of irresponsible adulthood, which is more of a muddy ditch. I think the mud represents regret, but I'm not entirely sure as I lost control of this metaphor a while ago. My English teacher would be proud of me. I miss Todd. But anyway, my point is that we, right now, are emerging from our awkward, foolish chrysalis, plural, and transforming into mature, tax-paying butterflies who own our own residences and do our own laundry and attempt to cook our own meals, then go out and end up running out of money halfway through the month and living off of ramen. You know who you are. But we can talk about that in a bit. For now, I want you to all remember the good times you had throughout high school. Remember that one time you wrote a book report based entirely on the first 2 chapters of said book? And then you fabricated the ending that had no resemblance to the parent material? Right now I would like to read an excerpt from a book report on 1984, if some of you remember that. And this is fictional, it's not actually in the book. Little dramatic reading here. It seems 2 + 2 = 4 after all, Winston rasped as he watched the nuclear submarine sink into the cold, murky depths of the bay. At last, Oceania was safe from the threat of Big Brother. But at what cost? At what cost? Good times. There was a 1 on that paper. I'd like to think it meant first. It didn't mean first. Or how about that one time when you spent all night wandering the suburbs looking for a party that happened last week? Hours away from home, under the cold, starry sky, you talked to your friends and realized there's got to be a place for me in this world. But, you realized that, more importantly, you really shouldn't have spent your bus money home on a pack of gum. It was a cold night. Or maybe that one time when you found a hot dog in the middle of the woods and then your friend bet you $20 that you wouldn't eat it. Then you both went to the emergency room to treat you for food poisoning. Then you didn't talk to him for a week. That was a $20 well spent. I still laugh about it. Now, some of you may be saying, Evan, what are you talking about? Those aren't good times. They all resulted in mild discomfort to serious injury of yourself and those around you. Well, I like to think I learned something from those times. You know, mostly don't eat old hot dogs you find in the woods, but a lot of other more important life lessons. I took a lot of chances throughout my high school career, and I don't regret any of them, because I got closer to my friends as a result, and I learned things about myself that, you know, I wouldn't be able to without serious self-harm. And I'm glad I did. So we've had our fun. We've lived, we've laughed, we've loved, and I like to think we've learned. Actually, I hope we've learned, considering that this is school. You know, if we didn't learn, it would be kind of pointless. So, you know, here's hoping you learned at least one thing. So now it's time to spread our wings and embrace what may come. Chances are, this is the last time I'm going to see a lot of you, so I want to leave all of you guys with an incredibly important message. Now, I have a reputation as a rather silly man whose math is a lot smarter than his brain. This is largely true. Now, this is coming from the brain part, just to, you know, drive in how important this is. Now that you are all adults, you can do whatever you want. Whatever you want. And I mean that in terms of your future. If you have the drive and the willingness to pursue your goals, even if people don't think you have the intelligence, even if people don't think you have the funds, there are ways to compensate for these to make all your dreams come true. And when I say anything, I mean literally anything. Want to walk dogs for a living? Go for it. I know a lady who walks dogs professionally who will make more money than I ever will. Just walking dogs. She likes dogs, so she walks them. That's it. And people pay her to do what she loves. Want to open a nudist colony? I'd go somewhere like warmer first, maybe Florida, California. Then I'd open a nudist colony. You know, if you want to open a nudist colony, definitely do it. You know, want to make a giant sculpture of, you know, Elizabeth II out of tin cans? Contemporary sculpture is a very, very large and inviting and interesting job opportunities, and you will make a lot of money, especially if you're a good waiter, just to do our kids. I'm just kidding, I'm sure you have some skills. My point is, if that something you do brings you happiness, do it. I spent half of my life in my parents' basement, and I'm a valedictorian, so I'm not joking when I say that doing what you love will take fun. Well, I think people are giving me kind of dirty looks from the sidelines saying that I'm hogging the mic, so I have to get off soon. But in the meantime, I'd like to say farewell and give a couple thank yous to a couple people who have made my life very special. First, thanks to all you guys out there. You know who you are. You have made this kind of career incredibly interesting. A lot of the times fun. Some of the times were not so good, a la the hot dog incident. But otherwise, you know, in retrospect, I like to laugh at that. So I would also like to thank the teachers. Thank you for putting up with me. I know it was hard at times, but you have made my life and a lot of other lives a lot better than they could have been without you. You know, you've enriched my life and the lives of others. I would also like to thank the custodians because they are one of the most important jobs ever, and they don't get nearly enough thanks. So thank you, custodial staff. And one more thing, on the topic of hope. I hope you all have a wonderful night and wonderful lives. Thank you. Probably a